Hi guys, I'm back. I want to show you guys how to make this pull string Valentine's Day bow and arrow heart piñata. And first we're starting off by cutting out 2 hearts, and I just did mine on a piece of paper and then traced it onto the cardboard. And I'm cutting here 2 strips about the width of about an inch and a half, maybe 2 inches, but it's about 1.5 inches. And my hearts are about 6 inches big, so it's not a very big piñata. I'm just gonna put candy in it. But as you can see, I start mapping out where the strips are gonna go around, and one of these actually ended up being enough for the whole heart. So I just kind of start bending the cardboard so that it kind of curls around. And as you can tell, this was from the box from my laptop. But anyways, I curl it around so that it folds real easily around those curves of the heart. And then I just kind of map it, and then I'm gonna really emphasize that crease that goes on the top of the heart. And then with the other strips, since I knew that was enough, I went ahead and kind of placed it, because I'm going to be doing a bow and arrow. So I kind of placed it where I wanted it, and then that way I know how big I'm doing my bow and arrow. So I did the bow on one side, drew it out, and then I cut it out with an X-Acto knife. And then I kind of cut in, I marked a little part where it's going to fold in. I didn't cut all the way through. And then I just glue it onto another piece of cardboard, being careful not to glue that little flap that I put there that I'm going to use to glue it onto the box. So again, I cut off the extra part, and then the little flap again, so that you can see it folds open, and that's what you use to glue onto the box, or the piñata, whatever. Anyways, here I'm doing the little bow part, or whatever it's called, little feathers, I guess. And I was going to do all these little feathers, but once I kind of cut out the little V at the very end, you'll see in a second, I decided that actually looks like a bow and arrow, so I didn't have to go with all those extra details, just like that, which would have been so much harder to put washi tape around all those corners. So I'm glad I went that way. So like I said, I used washi, and I did it one band all the way around, and I cut a strip of it thinner, as you can see, and I used the back of the blade to kind of press in the corner so that it really went into all the little creases. And I just followed the shape all the way around, and once you get it to the size, see, now that I've cut it off, I go ahead and really press up against the edges of the cardboard, and I really fold the creases, the edges. And then right here where all the corners are, I cut out a little V. So I cut out so that when I fold it over, it doesn't overlap so much and it's not so bulky. And you'll see that when I fold down the washi, it's perfect. It doesn't hang over, because I cut out that little V on each corner. I hope that makes sense, but as you can see it, you can understand more from watching the video than me trying to explain it. Then I just got some more washi tape, and then covered it, just did a whole strip, and then kind of cut it down. And you can paint this, you can paper mache and then paint it, you can cover it with paper, whatever you want, but I just wanted this this silver glittery washi tape, and there it is. And then once I had that, I went ahead and started gluing down the actual shape of the heart. And I start with the V, just because that way I know exactly what the other parts are gonna land. And I'm actually putting the cardboard, the strip around the edge of the heart, so it's not underneath, if that makes any sense. And I'm just using hot glue because it dries, pretty much immediately, and you don't have to hold it there. You can do it if you're doing a bigger piñata. It's probably not best to use hot glue, because you'll probably end up wasting more. You can just use Scotch tape and then paper mache, but since it's so little and it's not going to be heavy, I just did hot glue all the way around. And here I'm just grabbing the bow and the arrow, and I'm just kind of mapping it out where it's going to be, and then just I drew it on where, and then I used the X-Acto knife to cut the little slits, as you can see. And then I flip the box, or I keep calling it a box, the heart around, and then cut the little edges that connect it, and then just pull off that excess cardboard. And then once you have that little slot, you can real easily slide in the arrow part that I made. And as you can see, those little flaps now can stick onto the actual cardboard, and it keeps it more sturdy without moving. And I just used this tiny little scrap of cardboard to kind of give me an idea where I wanted it to land, the other parts, so that it looked like it was a straight arrow, not a broken one. Then I just used a bead of hot glue to go all the way around to just make sure it was secure. And then I simply glued on the top, as you can tell. And I always start with the V because it's easier. And then I kind of push in the heart part into the little box, and then kind of lift it up. And I'm using a pencil to help me out lift it up from the back because my hand can't reach obviously through the little hole. And I just went ahead and added 4 strips of scotch tape just to make sure it was secure. And then I'm using with a scrap of cardboard, I'm kind of like fitting it and making sure that it fits to the size of the hole exactly. So I'm marking it where it looks like it's gonna fit until I get it. Then I do cut one that's a little smaller, then obviously trace it onto this bigger one, and then I mark where I'm gonna put in my 6 holes for the string. And then I get some tissue paper, fold it in half, and obviously use a regular glue stick to glue it on itself and onto the cardboard. This is just to make sure that you can't see it through you can't see the cardboard. And then I'm marking the dots again. You can still see through it, but not as much, like the writing that I did underneath. Then I use some tacks to like start up holes and use a pencil to like really make them bigger. Then I got 3 strings that are about 10 inches, maybe 8 to 10 inches, and then I push it in through the red side, and it comes up, loops around, and comes back through the red side. So 3 of them, and as you can see, they look like little shoelaces. And then I just get that smaller piece of cardboard and then glue it over the bigger one to cover the little strings so that the strings are secure. That way when you pull on the little pull string, your strings don't fall off. So I'm using some glue and water here to make some, I don't know, what do you call it? Paper mache glue. Then I'm using, this is two sheets of tissue paper that I'm tracing over and leaving quite a big like gap around, or what is this called, extra paper around, seam allowance. I don't know what it's called, but anyways, I give it about 1.5 inches, 2 inches, and I kind of cut strips and I meet them to like where I drew that heart, so that I can wrap the whole box around it so that it's like not brown. That way it looks, red in case the tissue paper doesn't cover it. And this is totally unnecessary. You don't have to. I just feel that I added a little one more layer of protection against, breaking easily, and it definitely covers all the cardboard. So you can paint it as well if you wanted to. It'd probably be easier. But like I said, since I'm not paper macheing this cardboard at all, I figured this would help, which it does. So I'm just, like I said, gluing it all the way around. And then once I'm done with one side, I simply flip it around and do the other side so that it's completely covered. That's why I did 2 sheets. And then do all the little flaps up the other way. And as you can tell, the parts that are going to be hanging over the bow and arrow parts are obviously too long, so I just cut them to size and glue them down. So I'm getting about 4 sheets of tissue paper, folding it long ways in half, one more time in half, and then I ended up folding them one more time just to make them in easier strips. And I just use some of these paper clips to hold them down so that they're easier to cut and they don't move so much. And I make strips about 1.5 inches, I would say. And actually this was a lot of tissue paper, so in reality I think I only needed about 2 sheets of tissue, to be honest. And like I said, this is about a 6-inch piñata. I was gonna call it pizza. And as you can see, I'm just cutting a little beard all the way around, and then doing the same to the other side. And they're just little slits, and don't cut all the way through. Cut about a good 1/3 of the way up, because you can always do one side. Just like do one strip and make these strips in that order. But I feel that when you fold it like this, fold the little fringe over like this, it covers it a lot more, and they look fluffier, and the color looks more vibrant because there's more layers of red or pink, whatever color you choose. And as you can tell, I'm starting here on the little top of the little heart butt cheek, whatever it's called, I don't know, the little bumps on top. And I just start, and I like having my fringe always going downward, so on top, on the little V part, I make it go downward, and then I meet it in the middle about where the little butt cheek's highest point is, and then have it going the other way. So then I go ahead and glue the little edges, like the part that's hanging over, and I just glue it down to the actual heart so that it's not sticking out. And this makes it look a lot neater. So I'm starting on the bottom part, on the actual the bottom V, and like I said, I want the fringe going downward. So I just keep adding layers, and you always want to start from the bottom and build up, just because you want to go in the same direction. And this is what I mean where it meets, it's going into different opposite directions. So once again, you can completely do it in one direction if you wanted to. I just always like the fringe going downward, so there's always like a highest point, and that's what I decided to meet in the middle. So it just kind of looks like a hair part, like where it parts in the middle. So then, as you can see, I'm just gluing all the edges down again. And because I wasn't gonna fill it up with candy yet, I go ahead and leave a space. I give myself about 1.5 inch gap above the actual slit where the little hole is to cover it. So I start about that distance, about, like I said, about 1.5 inches up, and I start just adding the strips. And then it's very easy, just strip, and then on top you just kind of have to add smaller pieces just to kind of give it that curve, and then just give it a haircut so that it's nice and groomed for its Valentine's date. And then if there's any little parts that are sticking out, you can just add a little bit more glue to keep them down, and just do the same to the other side. So I went ahead and filled it up with candy, and I put them in these little bags because the bags were way too big. And I get the little square, put it where it goes, and then I cut little squares of tissue, and I put 2 sheets on every side of the little rectangle. Actually, this was really hard to open. So 1 square would be around good enough. 1 sheet of tissue per side would definitely be good enough, because my husband couldn't even pop this sucker open. We had to use scissors, which really defeats the purpose. So only do 1 sheet instead of 2, like I did here on each side, because you're gonna struggle. So once you have that part down, as you can see, I put 2 sheets, like I said, because I thought it was gonna not be strong enough to hold it down like all the candy, but it works very well. So I just kind of like comb all the little fringe up so that it's not getting glued down, and then I go ahead and start the fringe again from the bottom, and then just build my way up until I meet up right underneath where that fringe is. And as you can see, you just comb it down and you can't even tell, and then just give it a haircut again so he looks cute. So here I have a little sheet of plastic from like sticker packs that I pull off, that I keep, and I just used it to cut out. I taped the washi tape on there, and then I cut out I love you letters. You can use stickers, whatever you want, but since I wanted it to match the little bow and arrow, I went ahead and cut them myself. And again, if you're cutting them, you can definitely like draw them on there first, but I didn't want there to be any leftover marks of anything. So once I had them cut out, I just placed them where I wanted them, and then kind of started pulling them off like stickers. And that plastic on there like makes it peel off just like stickers, so it's really convenient if you ever want to use this technique. And then that's it. So the piñata is ready, and there it is. I hope you guys have a great Valentine's Day, and thanks for watching. See you guys later.